Listen, children, into my mind, I am a victim. What's this? Is crime?
Hola, amigo. Ooh,
Hola, amigo. ¿Cómo está? Me llamo Cristobal. Un rock and roller. Something to that effect. I think I was a little loud on the beginning of that song, so I apologize to our listeners if I blew out your headphones.
Yeah, you might have peaked at a time or two, but that's all right. That's what rock and roll's all about.
It's all about the rock and roll. Congratulations, Mr. Michael John Osbourne, for getting inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as an individual artist who, let's face it, reshaped the world of rock and roll as we all know it.
Absolutely.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
From a band standpoint and what it means to be a solo artist.
I don't really think there's anybody that's had as successful a solo career as the Mr. Osbourne. Do you?
That transition from a band to a solo artist, I don't think.
For the longevity and the consistency and the amount of, we talked about last show, the amount of records he's put out and things like that, because that was before the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Now it's post Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I don't. Maybe Don Henley, but I don't even think Don Henley had the. Don Henley was successful solo, and he came out of one of them arguably. Thank you. Most successful bands of all time, right? As evidenced by his record sales and whatnot,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes.
But I don't think his solo career is the length of Ozzy's. I don't think anybody's solo post group is as long as Ozzy's. I mean, can you think of anybody? Because I can't.
Well, you mentioned one right there. So Don Henley started his solo career not that long after Ozzy did, because the Eagles broke up the first time in like the mid-'80s.
Yeah.
And Ozzy started his solo career in 1981, 1980.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you looked up Don Henley's just solo record sales, he might be close because, man, he had some big albums.
Well, I did, and all it tells me is he's 77 years old, and he's 5'10".
What if you type in how many records did Don Henley sell as a solo artist?
How many records did
Sometimes you got to get specific with that fucker.
Henley sell as a solo artiste? Over 10 million albums worldwide. He had 8 top 40 singles and won 2 Grammy Awards and 5 MTV Video Music Awards.
Oh, well, Ozzy sold way more than that as a solo artist.
Well, here you go, Mike. Fuck me. Fuck me with a pogo stick. We were so
Did you answer
wrong.
your own question?
Oh, my God. Totally didn't think this, like, it's going to hit you in the face like a fucking, I don't know, like you're riding on a Harley 50 miles down the freeway and a big, massive amount of flies just smacks you in the face. Okay? Michael fucking Jackson, man.
Oh.
Jackson 5, solo artist Michael Jackson. Now, they have Elvis Presley, because it said who has sold the most records as a solo artist. So right away, Michael Jackson. 500 million.
In your defense, though.
Right, my defense.
In our defense.
Our defense.
In the defense of the Chris and Mike podcast.
Exactly.
Affiliated, incorporated.
Right.
And such. We were talking rock and roll, too.
We were talking rock and roll. Absolutely.
And, like, specifically that genre. So hard rock.
Yes.
Right? Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
We're not talking Elvis.
No.
But, yeah.
And Elvis comes up. It's... But, yeah, the...
Don Henley's a stretch.
Yeah, and see, then they're just going solo artists. They're not. Aside from Michael Jackson, Elvis wasn't in a band. Elton wasn't in a band. Madonna wasn't in a band. So those
and we did define that too. Somebody who went from a band,
correct,
like Sammy Hagar went from Montrose to a solo artist.
Right, and the Van Halen and the solo artist, right. And Don Henley's his biggest solo hit was "Dirty Laundry,"
great song,
which is from "I Can't Stand Still" in 1982. That is a great song. It totally slams the media.
Yes.
Yep. Who's the number one? Let's see. Fuck that. I'm not going down that path again. I just wanted to point out the fact that Ozzy is the most successful solo artist post band, rock and roll band.
Yes, and not just any band. Another Hall of Fame band.
Right, the band that changed the way that heavy metal is played. We talked about that last episode with all the artists that were in that same genre of 1970, or not genre, same era, same decade of rock and roll.
But that's also the argument you could make when you're, going for the Ozzy argument is like, Christ, he fronted a Hall of Fame band,
right,
that defined a genre of music by themselves, and then went on to become a Hall of Fame solo artist by himself.
Yes.
Like, what are the odds?
Yes.
Pretty fucking good if you're Ozzy, but
if you're Ozzy. And the fact that he's still alive,
Fascinating.
Fascinating.
It really is.
So how'd you do on the weekend of sports betting there, Mr. Michaels?
College football was not so good because Texas forgot to show up for their game, but yesterday the NFL did not let me down in that Jaden Daniels is a stud.
Right.
And I have a hard, fast rule. Don't bet against Patrick Mahomes. And once again, he didn't let me down either. Now, here's a crazy statistic that you will find odd not being a sports bettor.
Okay.
There are times when, for whatever demented reason, Las Vegas gives you plus money on Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, which means they deal in hundreds, right? So if it says plus 105, that means if I put up $100, I win 105. If it's minus 105, if I put up $100, I get 95, right? Minus is you're laying more money to win less. Plus is the odds are not in your favor, right? Yesterday,
I did not know that. This is Betting 101 by Mike Michaels.
Yes, let's go over Betting 101. When you see this, ladies and gentlemen, if you're on the sports betting app, this is very valuable information. If you're on the money line, which means you're just betting whether one team wins or loses, okay? Mm-hmm. We're just strictly talking about a money line bet. Just straight up, Kansas City's going to win, San Francisco's going to lose. Yesterday, the Chiefs, at one time earlier in the week, my dad said they were actually more than this, but when I took them, they were plus 105, which means if you put up $100, they will pay you $105. It's very odd that anybody in their right mind would ever think that Patrick Mahomes is an underdog in any situation, and the statistics even go higher when he knows he's an underdog in a game. He wins more often. Yes.
Wow. So he pays attention to that shit.
Only to know that he wants to try a little bit harder. Yeah.
Wow.
He's talked about it on podcasts and stuff where people say, do you know? And he said, obviously I'm not betting on the game, but every now and then you'll catch wind. And he said, if I ever do, that makes me want to win that much more. That's how much he loves playing the game, and that's why you can't beat him.
Or he has a secret identity, and he's pulling a Pete Rose on a football level.
He's Batman.
I just blew your mind.
We finally found Batman.
Boom.
But it's crazy. They'll do the same thing to Josh Allen. And what it is, it's the statistics line up just right that yesterday was the rematch of the Super Bowl, right? So you had the same two teams.
Yep.
And that's where sometimes the algorithms and the analytics just can't read into the fact that the Chiefs are a well-oiled machine right now. And you knew they were going to win. Just like you knew the Commanders were going to win. The Commanders were only a 9-point
Redskins. Fuck the Commanders, man. Did you hear Romo called the Redskins last weekend? Not this past weekend, but the weekend prior during the broadcast with Jim Nantz, and left Jim Nantz speechless because he actually said Redskins on the air. And Jim Nance was like, what the fuck? But he couldn't say what the fuck because it's on TV.
He gets excited.
But rightfully so, man. Good for him.
I agree.
Yeah.
We've talked about that. We actually had that conversation yesterday over breakfast at my parents' house.
Right.
The lunacy of, we can have the Braves and the Chiefs, but can't have the Redskins. Nope.
Exactly.
So it was the same thing with them. You knew that Jaden Daniels was on a roll. So there's certain situations as a gambler, you just got to roll the dice and say, this is as good a situation as I'm ever going to get. And getting plus money on Mahomes or Josh Allen, it's almost guaranteed money.
Okay. So if I was going to put, because we've talked about this, I need to actually take you up on this because I want to try a weekend of gambling. So you do more than just like the lines, right? Like back in the day, we'd do football pools at work, and I was really good at picking the games just from a win-loss standpoint. Like I would always go 10 wins and something lost. Like it was that good at picking the games. I never gambled it. I never like, I'm gonna, because I know you're taking points and you're taking for wins and losses, and he's gonna go over this or under that kind
Sometimes,
of shit like you talked about before, right?
The one thing that you do have to do if you want to make any kind of money, is, and you want to simplify it, which I do. I don't do a lot of the prop bets like the kids do.
Okay, like the kids, like the
whatever you want to call the kids,
the youngins.
Yeah. The youngins, they like to,
right?
But they watch Sports Center 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Well, it's just on repeat though. It's the same fucking episode. They just
I know,
loop
but
it, man.
What they do is they memorize these statistics and then they hit like 9-leg parlays and shit because they know exactly who's going to do what. Like yesterday, if I had any kind of guts,
right,
it was almost a guarantee that Kareem Hunt was going to get 1, maybe 2, which he ended up doing, touchdowns. If you pick a guy to get 2+ touchdowns, they give you insane odds, man.
Right on, because I had Kareem Hunt in my fantasy team, and he was sucking ass, and then all of a sudden he exploded, so I was happy about that.
Yeah, they're utilizing him a lot more.
Yeah, but yeah.
What I was getting at is if you want to make money, you do have to bet the spreads because obviously a team like the Chiefs on the money line, everybody knows the potential there's for them to win. So they'll be like, at best, they might be minus 185. I think yesterday they might have been minus 215 or something.
Interesting. And that's
No. Yesterday they were plus money. On a normal week, they would be like minus 185, minus 215. They'll be as high as like minus 500 if they're playing a shit team, right? Like the Panthers.
So if I put say $10 on something like that was minus whatever, and then that goes in my favor, what would I win?
Okay, so like an easy bet that I do all the time is a $10 bet at minus 110 pays $18.92 or some shit like that.
Okay, all right.
You win $8.92 profit.
Right on. Cool. That's good.
But I can definitely steer you in the right direction of potential games that are almost a gimme. But once again, every now and then there's a really landmine.
Right.
Like Texas, everybody in the world thought Texas was going to roll over Georgia, right?
Yeah.
At best, it should have been like a 3 or 4 point game. Texas just didn't show up at all. They got beat by like 20 points.
Did Arch play?
A little bit, but he got smoked too, man. Georgia's defense just showed up for the game. They were ready, and Texas was not ready.
Right on. I'm not a huge college guy, but I'm got my eyes on radar on Arch Manning, because fucking Giants, what they do again? Lost. Why? Because Daniel Jones sucks. What they do? They benched him and put Luck in, right? And whatever. And then dumbass Dabo comes out today saying, well, Daniel Jones is our starter. Like, were you fucking stupid? Like, we're going to play the Steelers. We're playing the Steelers next week. And he's 1-14 in primetime. So what are we going to do Monday Night Football? We're going to play Daniel Jones. Why? Because he's going to be 1-15, boys and girls.
So there's another prime example, in my opinion. I'm watching Sports Center, back to gambling. We can make the first part about this gambling.
Sure.
I'm sitting there having breakfast with my dad, mom, and they got Sports Center going in the background.
Yeah.
Yep. Hola. Thank you for sending the rolls. They were delicious. Ooh. And I see that the Eagles are only favored by 3 points.
Which is shocking. Really shocking.
Based on the conversations that I've had with you,
right,
who has been a lifelong Giants fan, you don't have much positive to say about what's going on with the New York Giants.
Absolutely not.
So I'm looking at that going, that's got to be guaranteed money too.
Right.
But I had lost the day before, so 2 bets was enough. I had already had $50 invested. I put $25 on both those games. I hit them for $98. Got all my money back from those 2 losses on Saturday plus 1 or 2 on Friday. So
right on, man.
Like I said, I meant what I said. I've never lost a dollar of my own money betting. Somehow I always find a way to make it back. It might take a little while. Here's an example. When I was early on betting, I just told my dad the story. I can't believe I had never shared this with him.
Right.
We were talking about the biggest bets that we had made, like the biggest single bet.
Okay.
And his biggest single bet is his business, I'll tell you mine because it's a tragic story. I wish I could remember the exact scenario, but we started talking in this conversation about what the plus is, what the minus is. I remember that it was a baseball game, and it was towards the end of the game, and the team had to win by a specific amount of runs, and it was already in the 9th inning, and I was looking at that plus and minus and the game in reverse, right? Oh. I'm thinking this is already a lock. They only need one more out, and they're going to win.
Yeah.
But what it was is they needed another run or 2 even before they got one more out. That's why the odds were so not in my favor, right?
Oh.
I placed a $500 bet on that accidentally, and after I hit submit bet, my brain put that all together, right? I'm like, oh, fuck. They got to get a run. It might have been even 2 runs. So I'm like, there's no way.
Gotcha. Are you gonna bet on the World Series?
So it took me 3 months to get that $500 back. That was the point of that story. I always get my money back eventually.
I figured,
Yes, I'll gamble on the World Series just because I'm watching it. Any game that I'm watching, I'll at least put $10 on.
Okay. And what are you gonna bet just like the individual game? Or are you gonna bet just like for winning each game? Or are you gonna bet the series? Or enlighten us, Mr. Michaels.
Mostly, I do just game by game.
Okay.
I realized that the law of large numbers starts to come into play in that there are sporting events going on in multitude every day all around the world. It's not how much you bet and win. It's what your winning percentage is. So my winning percentage is almost 70%, right? It's high 60s. That means over time I'm making money.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I like to do individual games to answer your question.
Okay.
Every now and then I'll throw in prop bets that I think are no-brainers. Like they'll say, we'll give you a 25 or 33% profit boost if you'll take this bet for Patrick Mahomes to have over 225 yards passing next Sunday, right? That seems like a no-brainer to me.
Okay.
If he has a clunker like he actually did, he didn't throw for a lot of yards on Sunday. So you would have lost that bet if that had been a prop bet. And it happens.
Yeah, I didn't watch his game, but I heard he didn't play up to his. I saw the fucking run on the highlights, the run where you think he's going out of bounds.
That was the best part of the game,
right?
Man. What a move!
That was insane, dude.
Tom Brady loved it.
Well, and then the other move that he did that was badass is when he scored the touchdown and he fucking ran into 16 and put his shoulder down and knocked the defender on his ass.
Yeah, he didn't even budge, and the defender just went like somersaulting backwards.
Yeah. That's that dude doesn't show up for film study today because he's just fucking getting his ass kicked.
I thought that was great too, man.
Yeah, it's insane, dude. But that was badass. That's like fucking just that's like kind of getting dunked when I was watching something. Jordan never dumped over Dikembe Mutombo, who just died. And Mutombo was giving him shit one night, and so the next time they played, fucking he dunked on him, and then he walked away from the, I got you, motherfucker.
Like he was bragging about that he had never dunked over him, and that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And then Jordan, being Jordan, he's like, "Okay, motherfucker, guess what's gonna happen to you now?" So that's cool. That's awesome. All right, so next week we gotta teach me to gamble. So hey, we're gonna shift phases now, boys and girls.
I'm gonna send you a link.
This portion of the show is not brought to you by DraftKings. By the way, Michael Jordan has ownership.
Actually, that's who I'm going to send you a link to.
Oh, right on. Michael Jordan has ownership in DraftKings.
But
that's
they
part
didn't
of
pay
his
us.
$1 billion a year empire.
Really?
Yeah. He signed his deal with Nike in '84 for 5%. Right? He got $500,000 for that deal for 5% of all shoe sales, and that's evolved into all merch sales now. So he makes, They made $100 million 1 year, so he makes his percentage of that from Nike. He sold the Charlotte Hornets, bought them for $275 million, sold them for $3.6 billion. He still has part ownership with a stipend. Like Jordan needs a stipend, right? So he gets a stipend from the Charlotte Hornets.
A deal's a deal, man.
Right? And then when DraftKings launched, he's a consultant. So I don't know what the fuck that means, but so he gets a percentage, and last year I think it said it was worth $11.8 billion.
You know what that means?
No.
It means at some point somebody came to him and said, "Would you like to invest money in this startup?" And he said, "Yeah, if they make me a consultant."
Right, exactly. So there you go.
You know who else is a major investor in DraftKings?
Let me guess. Joe Buck.
Major League Baseball. They're the only professional. They're the only professional sports. Yeah, how ironic is it that the only professional sports team to invest in any gambling site that I know of is MLB in DraftKings. That came up on a podcast I was listening to, one of those ESPN podcasts.
What a bunch of hypocrites.
So, hey, it gets better.
It gets better.
They went as far as to look at the statistics of just baseball games.
Okay.
Any baseball game that was bet on, like, let's say at a 72% clip or better.
Okay.
Lost more than 50% of the time.
Oh, shit.
An alarming rate. It was closer to 60 if I remember right. Or it might have been even 62%. It was higher than 50. Alarming enough that it caught the interest of the people who compiled these statistics and was on this podcast.
That's interesting, man.
Yeah.
Muy interesante.
I'm just, further reinforcing that baseball has criticized Pete Rose and crucified him for how many years, and now they invest in a gambling site.
A lifetime. Yeah. They've crucified him for a lifetime.
Yes.
And yet here he is. Here they are backing a gambling empire that causes millions of people to lose their minds and souls and bodies and sell themselves for drugs and shit because they have to make up their gambling debts. It's insane,
and actually, that's a true story
about selling your soul to the devil for gambling.
I'm sure that's being done somewhere, but for surely families and lives and marriages and kids are lost and houses are lost and I've seen it, man.
Yeah. Gambling is like for gambling is an addiction, just like everything else. So we have two ways we can do what's going to happen next, Mr. Michaels. As we talked about before, episode 51, or is this 52? This is 51. You just got brighter. Now you got darker. I can either show you what's in my magic hand right here, and we can talk about it, or I can not show you what's in my magic hand right here, and I can go change my water and come back and talk about the magic hand.
Oh, we probably should leave people and myself in dire suspense.
Dire suspense. So and I say I'm teasing. If you're watching this, you can kind of see something, but you don't really know. You don't really know what it is because
I know
it's
what
just
it is.
You know what it is because we talked about it prior to this show airing.
Yes.
So with that being said, boys and girls, it's too bad I can't do like a be right back. Like when Mannings do the football, I can have a thing come on my screen that says be right back.
We can figure that out.
That would be fun. So I'll be right back.
We're learning as we go. So, living in Arizona, Chris is going to go out and change his irrigation system. They have to switch over to a different kind of grass. You can grow grass out there year-round if you like. I used to just let mine go dormant because, just like here, you're kind of thankful for the transition in the seasons. But anyway, while he was gone, we were going to talk about how after 1 year, I was going to go over the statistics on the last podcast. We just eclipsed 1 year on October 16th. We are currently in 11 different countries now and 28 states, I think I counted. It was either 22 or 28 or 30. We got 3 choices. It's like A, B, or C. I think it was 28. And then just an untold amount of cities within each one of those states. It's kind of cool when you go into that analytics side of it. It breaks it down to where people are listening, what devices they're listening on. So, when we use our hashtags, that's what prompts us to use those hashtags is whatever devices are the highest percentages for that week is usually what I do. And they're almost always the same because, like me, people are creatures of habit. They either listen on Apple Podcast or Spotify or iHeartRadio. YouTube. Chris's YouTube channel is actually probably the most popular just since January with little to no promotion at all. He's like right at 10,000 views. We've kind of just started putting things out there because we're getting familiar with this part of the show as well. Riverside's made all kinds of improvements to their studio where you can do fancy editing like back in the day, you had to have Final Cut Pro or some kind of fancy editing software to do what this will do almost seamlessly. Anybody can do it if you have point and click abilities, but all that wasn't there before. We couldn't decide which side people were on. We couldn't make cuts in the timeline or it would screw up the whole file, so it all had to be one thing. We couldn't do our own clips before. We had to use the ones that they gave us. So there's a lot of cool things that, as far as changes that they've made that will help us make the show better, that we were waiting on, knowing that they were coming, and I was waiting on my internet. So I guess that's a long-winded way of saying we appreciate everybody that's been listening up to this point. We love all you guys for sharing us and promoting it on your own pages and all the kind words. So keep doing that and we'll keep bringing better content as time goes on. I've been making changes here, putting new floors in, and going to put up some acoustic treatment here pretty soon. Do some painting, put a new table in, and once that table comes in, then I'll be able to have guests here, which will be cool. We'll just have to figure out how to do the video at that point. I've never done more than 3 people. We've always had, 2 people on Chris's side. So everybody keep sharing us, and whichever platform you like listening on, give us a shout out, and we'll do our best to promote that to make sure that it stays there and it stays in the search. A lot. We pop up a lot on Apple and YouTube and Spotify, obviously, because those are the top 3 that it seems that people are listening on. So give us a shout out if you use a different one, and we'll see what we can do to either get our RSS feed there, or if it's already there and you have a hard time finding it, I can find ways to bump it up. So he must have actually had to go, get the water from the water truck, like the old days. Come on, Pa, bring that water wagon around so we can irrigate the crops. Anyway, I forgot that when I look out, I was going to read off a statistics off this screen, but he said I get super bright when I do that, so I guess I can still do it. Oh, yeah. There we go. Hey. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chris Dunham. And the crowd goes crazy.
And I didn't even run, dude. I just casually walked and did my thing. You can do that intro again, though. Ready? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chris Dunham. I told you the crowd goes crazy.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll be here all day.
We were discussing some of our 1 year statistics, and
sweet.
Now that we have new internet and we kind of know what we're doing with the editing a little bit better, we're going to be bringing better content. So I was telling everybody to make sure they kept sharing us, and thank you for struggling along with us as we did 47 experimental episodes. They should all get better from here.
Right. Thank you, all of you. You know, without you, this is not possible. Mike and I don't make any money off this, so really, without you, we're just talking to ourselves. And I mean, even though that's fun, we just like to think that we have people actually out there listening and engaging in our conversations and talking about it by the water coolers and on their way home to work and from work and going home to their spouse and say, you know what, this fucking guy, did you know, honey, that fuck ton is in the American Heritage Dictionary? No, I did not know that. Yes, it is. According to the Chris and Mike show, I didn't either. That's the greatest thing ever. I mean, you know, the fact that
we all learned together right there. That's awesome.
Right. And by far, that's my favorite thing we've done. Because none of this is scripted. This is just Mike and I having conversation, and it just goes where it goes. So that's the fun thing about it. So the fuck ton thing, I forgot how that even came up, but it came up somehow in a random conversation. I'm like,
because I think I used the term shit ton, and I said that's an official term, you know, and you laughed and said, I know that. And as you said that, you were typing it in to see if it really was. And then I saw the look on your face. You were like, you know what? It is. And so is fuck ton. And
Yeah. So that's a nice segue. So we all know the silly season is coming up. We have Halloween followed by Thanksgiving and then Christmas.
Yes.
Well, you know, there's all kinds of traditions, right? One of the Christmas traditions that most people can't stand is Elf on a Shelf because it's, you know, it's Elf on a Shelf. Like, I've never did Elf on the Shelf. We never did Elf on a Shelf with our kids.
They didn't have that.
Right. My daughter doesn't do it with her kids, you know, Little Man and Trip. They have no idea what Elf on the Shelf is because, let's face it, it's, you know, somebody decided, oh, I'm going to do this. Now, if it was Elf on the Shelf after the movie Elf came out and it came with a little midget, because, you know, I can get behind that. Elf with a midget, that fucking shit's hilarious. Speaking of which, I don't know if a midget's the proper term. Let's see. What is it? Vertical is up and down, right? Yeah. Vertically challenged people. There's a vertically challenged.
They're little people.
Well, I know, but I don't know how to say it. I don't want to be wrong because there's a vertically challenged person that goes to.
It's on the show.
To
little
EOS.
People.
Oh,
little people, big world. You know, on TLC.
So there's a little person that goes to EOS Fitness, and he actually works out. And I was like, every time I see him, I'm like, I want to talk to him. I want to like, dude, let's make some videos, man. Let's go have some fun with the height difference and the, you know, because I on Instagram I follow some people that do funny things with little people, and the little people are in it. So the little people obviously get the fact that it's funny, but it's hilarious. Like you'll see this dude doing this with you like ropes, like in the gym and you're doing the ropes. For those you can't see me, I'm moving my hands up and down like I have a rope in it. It's an exercise for your shoulders and back and stuff, right?
Right.
In these videos, the dude's doing this with the ropes, and then it pans to the guy looking down at his shoe, and he moves his shoe, and the little person goes flying because he's just putzing with his shoelaces. Follow me?
I'm following, yeah.
Okay. So, you know, I just love the little people stuff. It's funny. One of the names of the band I had over the years was 13 Naked Midgets.
I remember.
I think that's a great fucking name for a band. I still stand by that. I mean, the artwork would be fantastic.
You've said the same thing every time. That's what kills me.
He's
got the same sales pitch for the last at least 27 years.
Yeah, it's been there. It's been in my head for forever, man.
And the artwork would be fantastic.
It would. So, I like it. Going back to the Elf on the Shelf thing, boys and girls, it's a new hood tradition. It's called Snoop on the Stoop. Yes, boys and girls.
I love it.
This I can get behind. This is going to be fun for this holiday season with just Nikki and I, because I'm not going to introduce little man to Snoop. Maybe I should introduce. Let's see what Snoop looks like inside, shall we?
Yes, please. Let's do the unboxing, as they call it on the YouTubers.
What? I took the liberty of already taking off the stuff that kept it all bound, because that's...
Yes.
It's kind of a pain. I didn't realize there was a sticker holding his... So, there's Snoop. Okay.
That's awesome.
That's a little marijuana leaf gold bling, and there's a sticker sticking it onto his shirt, so I got to figure out how to peel that off, I believe oh, there we go. I believe the sunglasses don't mess with ooh. I don't think it's actually gold, but it's a little bit of bling bling. It's a little bit of bling. There's a Snoop Dogg. For those of you that are watching us, there's Snoop Dogg's golden leaf, marijuana leaf. Okay?
That's cool that his chain hangs off like that.
Yeah.
It's not
Right. And then, of course, the shirt is the dog father. Okay?
That's awesome.
Dog father. Then the shades come off.
That's awesome, too.
Of course, there's the Cheech and Chong joint. Can you see that? There's a joint. There it is.
Oh,
right
yeah,
there.
I saw it there. Yep.
There's his blunt. Is that what they call it, a blunt?
Awesome.
That's a blunt. And looking at his face, his eyes are bloodshot. Just going to say. So, and he's not really posable. I think this is a real indicative thing of his skinniness, because I heard the man's just skinny as fuck. He's like 6'2", 165. He's a rail. So
he is a rail.
Yeah, there's that. And the jacket comes off. I'm a little afraid to see what's on underneath. Ooh, Snoop's got a big ass. Kidding. Oh, now hold on.
Is it anatomically correct?
We're going to find out.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Snoop is Snoop.
Well, it's to scale,
It's to scale. There's nothing there. Absolutely nothing. But he has on his jammies, he's got the Snoop Dogg on his jammies. Oh, here you go. There you go. Snoop Dogg on his jammies. I'm Snoopadoop. Snoopadoop. We just got R-rated. Damn it.
That's all right.
Jacket back on.
Every time we cuss, we're R-rated, brother.
Oh, well, fucking A. So that's why this is not made for kids. That's why when I post this on YouTube, I do not say, yes, it's made for kids, because it's not.
No.
Because,
we always say explicit content on everywhere we post.
Explicit content.
Yes.
What's her face? Who's the dumbass that did that in the 80s?
Tipper Gore.
Tipper Gore would be proud of us.
Al Gore's wife.
Al Gore's wife.
And behind closed doors, she probably did things that you wouldn't want to talk about in front of your mother.
Oh, my God. She was a Diddy party frequenter. There you go. Snoop on a stoop. I don't know that's for real, so don't sue us.
No. These are all alleged allegations.
Alleged allegations in the minds of Chris and Mike.
And these stories may or may not be true.
Exactly.
But the actual Snoop on a stoop is a real deal. I see it right there. Yeah.
Ages 21 and up. Okay. And you can buy this on Amazon for the low price of $49.99.
Does it say ages 21 and up for real?
21 and up, because he's got the marijuana joint.
Oh.
And he's got the gold marijuana leaf on around the chain.
Okay.
And then
yes.
you saw what
must
happens.
Be 21 years old.
And you saw what happens, when he gets excited.
Yep.
So, Snoop on a stoop. Get yours today. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Snoop on a Stoop. That's right. It's a hood tradition.
Come on the podcast, Snoop. You're more than welcome. We'll have you for a 15-minute segment. We'll have you for the whole show. Jesus.
We're going to make this a short, and I will tag the fuck out of Snoop Dogg.
Oh, yeah. Everybody loves Snoop, myself included.
Everybody loves Snoop. Everybody.
Except for the people that he committed the crime against, which we've established.
Yes. He was a bad boy.
But can't change what happened yesterday. We go over this all the time.
This is the third time you've said yesterday. So yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Just kidding.
That was good.
Yeah.
Is that the third time I said yesterday?
It's the third time you said yesterday.
Oh man.
Yeah. That's a great. That was one of my. Believe it or not, that was one of my first introductions to the Beatles.
It's a great song. No question.
Yeah, it was, and then when Guns N' Roses came out yesterday, I was like, is this a cover? And no, it wasn't. It wasn't a cover. So yeah, yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Now it looks like they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Suddenly, I'm not half the man I used to be. There's a shadow hanging over me. Oh, yesterday came suddenly. Why she had to go, I don't know, she wouldn't say. I said something wrong, now I long for yesterday. Yesterday. That's it, that's all I got. Sorry, acapella moment.
What great lyrics, huh?
Great lyrics, good lyrics, good lyrics. They wrote good lyrics.
You can see that.
You can see it, yeah.
Yeah.
You can see the stuff, you know.
That's what I always appreciated about your songwriting, because I was not a big lyrics guy. I was always into the riff and the feel of the music and the beat, and but your songs I always remembered the lyrics to, so I knew that they meant something to me, because I actually paid attention to making sure the music carried those sections that were supposed to mean something to other people, you know.
Well, and I've told you before, that was the thing that and nobody's ever been able to do it since our collaboration, that I could take lyrics, I could take a song I wrote, which Boys and Girls, I wrote them in ballad format. If you know anything about poetry writing, it was ballad format. It was four lines, and then I would throw a chorus in there. Second and fourth last word of each paragraph rhymed in some way, shape, or form. For the most part, not everything did, but for the most part. And then we'd go back when the song was being structured. We'd write bridges and things like that. But for the most part, I'd give Mike 8 to 10 paragraphs of 4 lines each with a chorus in there once or twice. And I'd say, here. And I'd come back the next day, and he'd have music for it that literally captured the emotional content of which I wrote. And it just, without fail. It didn't matter what the song was. Without fail, I'd give you something, and then you'd be like, I wrote this for this. And I'd listen to it a few times and kind of grab onto the melody, find the melody within it, and it fucking worked. It was insane. I equate it, not that we're in excess, but I equate it to how Michael Hutchence was with the band, because the band would give him, they'd do it backwards. They'd give him music. Like, here you go. Here's 4 songs. And he'd open up his lyric book, and he'd pan through it, and he's like, okay,
well, you did that too.
Yeah, and then
you
boom,
wrote lyrics to our music sometimes.
Well, yeah,
if we already had music ready,
right? But I'm just saying, with what Michael Hutchence did, he'd had everything written in a notebook like I did, and so they would make the music for a song, and they'd give it to him, and he'd go in his room, and he'd like, oh, there it is, fucking good to go.
Yeah, we did it in that order, and then there were times where you would just give me lyrics, and I had never even heard the melody that you had in your head, and there were times where you would sing the melody to me, and we would write it right there in the room. We actually did it all 3 ways.
Yeah, okay. I've gravitated towards the, hey, Mike, here's a song. Write me music for it, and we did
it that way a lot. Which
you would capture the essence of what I was writing and what I was talking about.
It was fascinating to just read words on a page and somehow dream up music in your head, but I did it.
You did it very well.
That was my hidden talent, because a lot of people, they'll hear me play for the first time, and then all of a sudden you get all these requests. Hey, can you play Stairway to Heaven? Like, nope. Can you play? Nope. Because I spent all my time becoming my own sound, I wanted to have my own tone and my own style and be able to do exactly what you just said. Have somebody say, hey, can you write me some music? Yeah, that I can do.
Yeah.
Like right now, here on the spot, I'm not afraid to just start jamming.
Right.
Because that's what I wanted to do. I didn't care about playing other people's music. Lately, I've gone back and learned a handful of cover tunes just because it's fun to sit around and jam to an already established song. But back then, that was not an interest of mine at all, nor was it yours or Scott's or Rick's,
Exactly.
When we put the ad out for a bass player, we were very careful to make sure we told people we were an original band with gigs that were pending that may or may not pay, because most of them didn't pay.
Right. Remember that one dude that had that really cool trunk that smelled like gasoline, was big enough for like 4 bodies, and I actually said that when he showed up.
I did not until you reminded me of it. I think before we started this podcast. Yes.
Yeah.
We talked. That's one of the stories you and I talked about when we were kind of getting reacquainted again.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, that dude was creepy.
Right. Big ass trunk, man. Like talking 1970s Cadillac Eldorado trunk. I don't remember what kind of car he had, but that fucking thing. When he got his gear out, I was like, damn, that's big enough for like 4 bodies. He's like, yep. I'm like, fuck me, dude. What did you do?
He smelled like cigarettes and BO and whiskey.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was the epitome of rock and roll right there. He just wasn't our cup of tea, you know.
No.
But yeah, if you're gonna put a smell on a rock and roll, a rocker, there you go.
You know, that's something. There's a good subject. There's something that kids will never be able to relate to, because what Chris is talking about. And once again, I had my timeline fucked up, so it's good that we do things like this because it puts things in perspective for me. Chris was in the band before Rick, so we put a ad out, and it was like a cattle call of bass players. But here's what 1995 or 6 was like when you were auditioning for musicians. You had a few different publications that you could take an ad out. One of them was the New Times.
Right.
What was that little paper?
Music Voice?
Music Voice, yes, thank you. So you had the New Times, you had Music Voice, and then you had like putting up flyers at clubs and down at the college or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
There was no real way, you had no internet. So
no.
You had to actually either have a practice space that was away from the place you lived, or take a chance on having some fucking creeps that Chris just described show up at your audition and hope that they weren't there to be a serial killer or something, you know? Mm-hmm. Nowadays, you just put an ad on Facebook and you say, do you have a YouTube clip or do you have, you know? It's that's one thing that, you know, new musicians will never really understand is what it was like to have to meet people that way.
Yeah, exactly.
You built a lot of character.
You do. Absolutely.
I got lucky, as we discussed, meeting you, because you were right behind me, blowing my eardrums out, harmonizing with the guy who was singing in the band.
How did you meet Scott? Because you came to town from Illinois with the suitcase in your hand, kind of like Welcome to the Jungle, Guns N' Roses video. He gets off the bus. There's Mike Michaels.
Right? I did. Everything I owned fit in my car.
You drove, though.
I had a car.
How'd you meet Scott? I don't think we ever talked about that.
Okay, so I got there in the spring of 1993.
Okay.
And I lived with my cousin and her soon-to-be husband for a little while. And then I moved to, within about a month, maybe 2 or 3 months, I don't remember. But anyway, I moved to Metro Village Apartments, which, you know, was right behind Metro Center.
Yep. So
I took a job at a place called Great Western Publishing, which was down in South Phoenix.
Right.
The fucking guard shack got shot out very frequently with they had to put bulletproof glass in the windows.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, it was a fun place to work. But
sounds like it.
So Scott had just left there, and there was another guy working there who knew Scott and was a bass player. So he was the original bass player that I told you had stage fright.
Right.
That we had to fire immediately. So we lost a bass player and a singer at the same time. That was that guy.
Correct.
So he introduced me to Scott, knowing that he was a drummer. And then, unfortunately for him, Scott made the decision to fire him from the band. That was not my decision. So if he ever listens to our podcast, he knows me.
Right.
Shit, we got the exact same birthday. So, Mike, if you're ever listening to this podcast, I did not fire you. That decision was made for me and very effectively by our drummer, because I called. So Scott and I became fast friends, just like you and I did. It was when you know, it's just like when you find your wife or your significant other or however you roll in life, you just know.
Yeah.
And he showed up. So before I met Scott, Mike and I both took a job at a place called Color Masters, which I think is where I was working when I met you as we were putting the band together.
Okay.
They were a family-owned business, and they were just as into partying as any rock star, and probably more so than you've ever met in your life. I mean, these girls grew up with wanting for nothing because their dad started a business that was very successful, and they liked to party.
Yeah.
So they had a half of a warehouse that wasn't being used. They owned 2 buildings in downtown, well, off skirts of downtown Phoenix.
Okay.
And they were like really interested in the fact that I was putting this band together. You know, when I got the job, I said, I'm going to have to work some funky hours because I'm putting a band together, and that's what I want to do for a living, you know? So
right.
They were very supportive. They're like, whatever hours you need to work, however many, however little, we just need our projects to get done, and as long as you can keep them moving along, we don't care when you do it. It was a great relationship.
That's cool.
So in the meantime, the bass player that we had to part ways with because he had stage fright took a job at this same place, and that's when I was like, I'm ready to move forward. We need a drummer. And he said, I know this guy. Scott had moved over to a company called Laser Scan, so we called him up and said, hey, meet us after work at this address, and it was in that little warehouse. So Scott shows up, and Mike wasn't there. He wasn't working that day. We were waiting on him to show up. So we went down and got some beers and drank those before Mike showed up, and went and got some more beers. And long story short, Scott jammed with us, and after he hit the last note on whatever we were going to play, he just blacked out, straight back off his drum throne.
Oh, shit.
Out fucking cold, because we had been drinking for hours, man. You're talking, I wasn't even 21 yet. I'm 19 years old.
Wow.
So when I packed up all my shit, and my mom freaked out and wouldn't even say goodbye to me because she was so nervous because I was leaving, as a parent, you can understand why. I was 19 years old. Yeah. I look at some of these kids today that are 25 and, their brain's not developed yet, and it's pretty obvious. And I'm like, Jesus, no wonder she was nervous.
No, dude, I bailed 2 weeks after graduating high school. I was 19. I was 19 as a senior. I was 18 as a junior. So, like, legit, as soon as high school is done, out the door, man. Fucking never went back since.
So, I knew right away that he was going to be the guy.
Yeah, just because he fell over blackout drunk.
Just because no.
I know, I'm just messing with
you. That's such a little part of it, sure. But it was important just for the simple fact that you're going to end up, and you've been in situations where people dictate what you can and can't do. And when you're 19 years old and you're trying to put a hard rock band together,
yeah,
the reason that you want to be a musician is because there's no fucking rules, right?
Exactly. You
remember we had one hard, fast rule in that band. Just be coherent enough to actually be able to perform. Yeah. And we've established that was never an issue for any of us because none of us were ever fucked up when we were on stage. We did that well after.
Right.
So, that wasn't really an issue.
That's
we
cool.
just jammed so long that night that, he got all fucked up and I got all fucked up. And but that was the start of our relationship.
So what's funny there is that Mike, the former bass player, lead singer, introduced you to Scott, the drummer, and then you guys took Mike, the former bass player, lead singer, out of the band.
Yes.
So he's the reason you and Scott got together. That's funny.
Yes.
That's funny.
After that night happened, Scott called me up on the phone, and I can't remember what I said to him. Like, hey, how's it going or whatever? What are we going to do?
Yeah.
I just think I said, hey, how's it going? And he's like, how's it going? He said, I just moved all my equipment out of the fucking rehearsal space, and I suggest you go do the same thing if you would like to continue jamming with me. That was the extent of the conversation.
Wow.
Well, yeah, oh yeah. He had made up his mind. He's like, that can never happen again. Those words came out of his mouth.
Oh, the drinking part?
No, the stage fright.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I got you.
Because you had fast forwarded all the way to when Scott kicked him out. That was the conversation that went down. He was like, that can never happen again. Yeah. I can't ever worry about whether somebody's going to be able to go on stage or not. And if you remember, was that ever an issue for Nemesis? Did one of us ever go, hey, man, And if there was anything remotely close to that, kind of like the video that you posted of Hetfield, where he was having a moment.
Yeah.
Not to say that we didn't have moments, but to Chris's point, posting that video, one of us always said, hey, man, come on, we're going to have fucking fun, dude. It's going to be cool. You're cool, man. Without you, there's not us. We can't do it with, somebody would have something that would immediately bring you out of that funk.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all have bad days. We're all human. I'm not saying that we all went up there saying every night, yeah, we're going to fucking kick ass. There were nights when somebody was having a moment like that, but somebody else knew exactly what to say to bring you out of that doldrum or whatever the fuck you want to call it,
Yeah. Yeah. That was yeah. I don't think I had very many of those moments because that was always my escape. That was always that was always the.
You would have been probably the person to pull that person out pretty quickly.
Once we were set up and ready to go, and that was it. It didn't matter what my mood was like, man. It's fucking let's go do this shit. It's kind of like on the cruise. That was I missed that feeling so much, and then we were on the cruise, and then fucking got on that game show. It's like I'm standing in front of these 3 tiers of people. Like everybody's like looking over the balcony edge. Like everybody's lying. They're lying. Like there's no empty space at all because it's a weird part of the cruise where nothing was going on. And you have all these people down here. So, without knowing it could have been, 100 people, could have been 500 people because there's no way to count it. And then they're like, pick a song. And I'm like, no shit, I get to pick a song, and what's the game? Well, you got to sing the song. And then the music's going to stop. You got to maintain the melody. I'm like thinking, dude, you have no idea who's standing in front of you. So, yeah, summer of 69, dude, fucking took that thing to a whole new level. And I had all the tears fucking singing back. It was like, it was kind of cool, too, because Nikki finally actually saw me in my element by being with me in the element as opposed to just being in the crowd. So she was having fun, and she was completely out of her comfort zone because, that's not her at all. But that was, it was cool, man, because the heart was racing and, you got all the eyes looking at you and shit, and people were fucking smiling and singing along. It was like, yeah. That's that fucking moment, man. That's that glory. That's that rush.
See, and that's the difference in being your role in the band and most musicians' role in the band. Most people would find it very odd, and they would probably never guess that most musicians are introverts. I'm not talking frontmen like yourself.
Oh, yeah. The musicians, the people behind the singer. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Drummers are the weirdest fucking people in the world, too.
Yes. Yeah, they're a breed unto themselves. I've always described them as they are not musicians. They're timekeepers, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, you got guys like Neil Peart who actually write the music and write the lyrics, and he's a songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, it takes a certain type of personality to want to beat the shit out of something for hours on end, and that's what you're doing as a drummer. If you're sitting in a room by yourself, you're not hearing the melody of the song as somebody's pounding out the beat, right? All you're hearing is cymbals and toms and just drums. You're not hearing a song.
Mm-mm.
You and I would hear it in our head because we know how the beat goes. But the average person's like, oh, it's just a bunch of fucking noise.
Yeah.
So to your point, I'm reinforcing your point. Drummers are an odd group unto themselves.
Yeah.
And
but go ahead.
No, finish your thought.
I was just going to say, but a good drummer will take the song to a whole new level. There were songs that once you and I had our part, brought it to the band, and fucking Scott changed it. Just with his beat, just with his whatever he was doing, like, holy shit. So
I'll reinforce your point.
Yeah.
A good band with a great drummer is a legendary band.
Yeah.
A great band with a good drummer, it's just not a good band.
Right.
Because if the potential for the wheels to fall off is always there, that's the one thing that we never had to worry about is he never let us down because he did his job,
Yeah.
He smacked that. I'm giving lessons right now, and he just smacked that fucking metronome into my head. He's like, I got one job, dude, and it's to keep you in line. And if you're not going to follow along, then there's no need for me to be here because you're making me look like an asshole because I'm not speeding up or slowing down, but you are. And nobody else knows that because I'm supposed to be the one keeping the beat, right?
Right.
And he would be firm about it, but he'd really get his point across in that if we're not tight, nobody's going to stick around.
True. Yeah. Oh, and they stuck around.
Oh, we were fucking tight.
Yeah, we were.
That's why I always like those moments where we stopped and started again, because we were super tight. We were awesome at that.
Yeah. Uh-huh. I like the fact that we come out with 2 or 3 songs back to back to back and just fucking in your face rock and roll. Here we are, motherfuckers.
Without really saying very few words, right? Yeah.
Right. It's just like, I don't even think I said anything until after we were done with those 3 songs.
You never said anything before the end of the second song. Sometimes you might throw a few words in between the second and the third. But, there were nights where we'd go 3 solid songs without ever saying anything.
Yeah,
we had them tied together.
Yeah, just fucking statement rock, man. That was fun. Those were good times. And that's one bummer thing about it. I wish technology was better back then, because it'd be nice to have that stuff. Of all the bands I've been in, this is my favorite one I was ever in, looking back on everything now, and I wish that we had more of a document of everything. Granted, we know we lost a lot of things from the old Rumia years, but, just the things, man, just the things.
Yeah, and there still wasn't a lot video-wise, because you were always the one that had the camcorder, so whatever you had on that tape, which I still got that.
Yeah.
That's all that's there.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't realize that it was taped over. All that shit was taped over. It's supposed to not have been rewound. Because I had so many fucking practices on that thing. Like, there's a lot of stuff on there that was taped over from Jack that night, that fuckhead.
That would have been awesome.
I know. Well, because that's how we learned. That's how we would dissect shit. I would record it, and then I'd go home, I'd take it and watch it. After Nicky go crash out, I'd watch that shit and just, there's what Mike's playing. Oh, this is, okay, that's, I'd study that shit kind of like, because it was just stationary in the corner of Scott's house. It didn't do anything. It just recorded the practice, and then I would go fucking watch it and dissect it and, criticize
But I think
myself.
that's another important point. That's the level of commitment that we had that the next band probably didn't have. They went to practice, they practiced, and they went home.
Yeah.
We went to practice, and then we went home, and we actually all had homework.
Mm-hmm.
Not like we all said, hey, you got to do this, this, and that. We just did it organically,
Yeah, yeah.
In my head, I would hear things that you were doing that, hey, I got to either hold that note out longer or, we got to extend the measure or shorten it or whatever to make it make sense.
Right.
You would just hear little things happening because the tape doesn't lie. That was the best advice I ever got from my guitar teacher was record yourself, because the tape don't lie. Mm. You'll hear yourself speed up and slow down. You'll hear the bad notes. You can overlook a lot of things because they happened in the past in your mind.
Right.
But when you go back and listen to it, it's like, oop, that's not working out at all.
Yeah, I agree.
But you have to have that level of commitment. We gave up a lot of, watching TV and sports and going out and doing whatever people were doing back then. I really don't even know, because we weren't doing it. We were
either jamming
either playing gigs or writing.
Yeah. Yep. Rock and roll, coochie coo. Rock and roll stops the traffic. You know who said that?
Say that again.
Rock and roll stops the traffic.
Oh, yes.
Bono. Rattle and hum.
He shows up on one of the lists of richest rock stars.
Bono?
I saw the other day. Yeah.
Huh.
Look up the top 10 richest rock stars. He was like number 3, if I remember right. Maybe 2.
I just recently watched Unforgettable Fire on Amazon Prime.
I just found it, not to interrupt you, but I found it curious because when's the last time you two did anything that
was worthy?
That has sold a lot of... Have they toured recently? Is that...
Yeah, they've been doing the Vegas residency, which is insane. They're making tons of money on that shit. But they were always... They were always a touring band before they were a studio band. Like, by the time they hit it in the States, the Joshua Tree was their love affair with the United States. So before that album, they were virtually making their living and making their statement as a live band. They weren't a studio album, blah blah blah.
Right.
So Paul McCartney's worth $1.2 billion.
Yes.
Sir Mick Jagger, where's his price? Where's his money? He's a net worth of $500 million. Bono, Paul Hewson, his net worth is $700 million. So why is Jagger before Bono? Yeah, $500 million.
Yeah, why did they have him listed next?
I don't know.
Just because he's cool.
$700 million is
they have him listed in order of coolness.
Probably. Keith Richards, $515 million. Elton John, $650 million. So they're not in any specific order.
Oh,
Bruce Springsteen, $750 million. John Bon Jovi, $410 million. The Stones as a band, $398 million.
Here's an interesting fact.
Okay.
Bruce Springsteen has to play the least amount of shows to make the most amount of money of any artist on planet Earth.
That's not surprising because
he only has to play like 40 shows to match what every other band has to play like 175 to do.
Yeah, but I watched a really good thing. Little Steven. You know who Little Steven is?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so there's a documentary about him, and the roots of him and Springsteen. I had no idea. Like when they were punk ass kids, Bruce was riding the coattails of Little Steven. Little Steven put together his band in Jersey, and Bruce was on the backup. He was like a regular member of Little Steven's band. Like it was a trip. I'm watching that thing like, holy shit.
That's awesome. I did not know that.
No, yeah, like fucking Google that shit. I forget what it's on, but Netflix or something. But Little Steven, like forever, he's the one that put shit together and formulates songs. Like he did some arranging of some of Bruce's shit and produced some of Bruce's shit. Like the dude is a musical genius.
He is,
and
a great actor,
right? And so somehow or another, when Bruce was signed, they signed him as a folk singer, which Little Steven was not. Little Steven just wanted blues, jazz, that kind of infusion of music and shit, and it was like you go on your way. But some of the stuff that Bruce was doing in the studio with his first album, fucking Little Steven came. I'm like, no, fuck that. You need to do this, 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 and this, and fucking genius that he is. So it's a trip. I didn't finish watching. I need to finish watching it, but really, really good.
What I think is cool about that too is it goes to show you what kind of character Bruce Springsteen is as a human being.
Mm-hmm.
That you would always want somebody like that in your band anyway, but he probably could have parted ways with Little Steven a long time ago and gotten just somebody he paid cash to go out on tour with him.
Right.
Instead of being a songwriting partner, is what I'm saying.
Right.
For Bruce to have stuck with him all these years just shows what kind of character he has as a human being.
Right, but I think part of that is because Bruce, you don't have Bruce without Steven. If you watch this thing, Bruce doesn't exist without Steven. It just doesn't happen.
But how many times has that happened in music history? Yeah. And then the guy gets a big head and kicks the other dude to the curb.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. So back to our list here. Sting, $550 million. Eric Clapton, $450. Gene Simmons. Where the fuck is he? Oh, $400 million. Bob Dylan, who's coming out with a movie about Bob Dylan. Like, fucking serious? Bob Dylan's life, I'm sorry, is not worthy of a movie. It's just not. It's just every song fucking sound. Oh, times are changing. Like anybody can do Bob Dylan. I could sit there and do Bob Dylan.
I think after you see, I turned into the but guy.
Yeah.
I think after you see the movie, you'll see that it's not about him so much as it is he's one of the greatest songwriters in the history of mankind.
Okay. So I
got schooled on that a long time ago.
Okay, gotcha. So they have the Edge listed here, which is David Howell Evans from U2, but it doesn't say what he's worth. Ringo Starr, $360 million. U2 the band U2. What is it? Where is it? I don't even know why it's there. It doesn't say. Jimmy Buffett, who's now dead, $650 million for one fucking song. Larry Mullen Jr., the drummer,
Two.
350 million. Oh, 2 songs, sorry. 350 million, Larry Mullen Jr. Adam Clayton, 400 million.
Jimmy Buffett wins, just for the record.
Yeah. Rod Stewart, 300 million. Roger Waters, 310 million. Now, Bon Jovi as a band, I don't know why they fucking put that up there. It doesn't give the price. Oh, here's one of our favorites, Mr. James Hetfield, $300 million. Dave Matthews, Crash Into Me, 350. Don Henley, 250. Lars Ulrich, where is he? Where are you at? How much money you got, Lars?
Probably 300.
He's slightly richer than fellow founder James Hetfield. So James was 300 million, so he's probably 310, 320, slightly. Ozzy Osbourne, 220 million. I'm surprised. Only 220 million. But he did spend a lot of money on drugs and booze and, you know.
I think he made some bad investments, too.
Yeah, probably. Chad Kroeger, the lead singer that everybody loves to hate, he's 180 million.
Good so you hated him all the way to $180 million. Congratulations, people. You should give yourselves a round of applause.
Madonna. Fuck me. Madonna's 800. Fuck me. 850 million. Wow.
You know why?
Celine Dion is 800 million because she sold her soul to the devil.
No, because
Sex.
Madonna and Celine Dion are incredible businesswomen, just like Oprah, where Ozzy liked to, like you said, have a good time.
Yeah.
Madonna started a very successful record label,
Maverick, which
Candlebox was their first sign. Yeah.
Exactly. Do you know the Candlebox signing story? Have we ever talked about that?
I'm not sure that we have. If we have, it's worth it again. I love Candlebox.
Well, it was one of her A&R reps got a flat tire wherever they were at. It was raining. Pulled over the side of the road. He remembered he saw a bar. Walked back to the bar, whatever night of the week it was. Sat down. Candlebox had just finished their first set, so he didn't hear anything. And they came back on a half an hour later, and while he was waiting for somebody to come fix his car, he sat through the entire second set of the Candlebox show. After the show, walked up to him and said, "Here's my card. I want to sign you guys." They never played out once. That was their first gig ever because they spent their entire 2 years previously rehearsing and honing their craft and shit. That's the story. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what, for whatever reason, back in the day when they hit it big, something on MTV I was watching.
We're going to say it's true just because that's awesome.
Well, that was how they were discovered.
We're going to go with it just because I like it. Some things you just got to leave alone these days.
Yeah. Yep. They've released eight studio albums, Candlebox, several charting singles. They came out July 20th, 1993. Self-titled debut album. It sold more than 4 million copies. Speaking of which, Ozzy just went to 5 million for No More Tears.
I saw that. That's awesome.
Candlebox peaked at number 7 on the album charts. Change You, Far Behind, and Cover Me. Did you know Cover Me? Did I tell you the story about Cover Me? Because when Nick and I saw them, he explained it. Like he told the stories behind his music. Did I tell you that?
If you did, I don't remember it, so you can tell me.
It's about the Jesus. He grew up Catholic, in a Catholic household. He was an altar boy. He was having some turmoil within himself and just the world of an adolescent, and he was praying hard and wanted God to fucking cover him from the chaos that was consuming his life, and he never got an answer, and he was like, "Fuck this shit." But yeah, Cover Me.
That's awesome.
So next time you hear that song, listen to the lyrics, and there's religious overtones to it.
Just as there is in Creed's music.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we know Scott. Yeah, Stapp is a super evangelistic, the Bible toting, like his dad. When I remember watching an interview from Creed back in the day, his dad had that big. I mean, like, this is my chest, right? So, figure from the top of Dunder Mifflin all the way down to like my belly was this wooden cross hanging around his dad's neck, and his dad was just like fucking just ostracizing Scott because he wasn't using his gift appropriately. I was just like, what the fuck, dude? No wonder Stapp went off on Wonderland because
Yes. He grew up in a very oppressive household.
Yes. Yeah. Heavy.
This is a lesson just to people about humanity, which I would like to say that I'm approaching my PhD in humanity. If you keep telling someone they can't do something, eventually guess what's going to happen?
They're going to fucking do it.
They're going to want to do it just if out of only spite or morbid curiosity. In my case, it was never about spite. It was always just morbid curiosity. Why can't I do this?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Who are you? If I want to do this, who are you to tell me I can't do it? I'm an adult now.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, in that respect, I feel sorry for him. I do. Because his fate was decided for him as a young boy, and it just got worse as he got older. And what are you going to do? You're going to rebel. That's what kids do when you just keep your fucking thumb on them all the time.
Yep.
Here's an interesting local story that I forgot I was going to share with you the other day. So within, I don't have the exact date up. Oh, yeah, it's from Friday. Peoria truck driver transporting mail for the United States Postal Service in a 24-foot truck in rural central Illinois reported seeing a huge creature along the side of the road believed to be a Bigfoot while completing his route on October 5th.
Did they drug test him?
Now, why do you gotta go there?
Well, because you just, you have to go there.
Now, why you gotta go there?
Was he dropping shrooms?
No, he was transporting mail for the United States Postal Service. He has to be a trustworthy government employee, Mr. Dunham.
You think I was driving down the street the other day, and I looked to my left, and I'm like, holy shit, that's Snoop on a stoop, man. Woo!
And see, it really was. So this might have really been Bigfoot.
What up, Snoop? If I could do Snoop's voice, this would be a comic bit right here, but I can't. I can't do it. I'm going to put Snoop somewhere so when Nikki comes home, she's going to be like, what the fuck?
I could probably get pretty close under the right conditions, but,
Right. Faux shizzle. Oh, what are we at? We're at an hour and 17 minutes. Should we wrap this up?
We could do that.
Wrap it up. What do you got going on the rest of the day? You had the day off today. How come you had the day off today?
Just because I got a lot of vacation time left, and
right on.
I wanted to have the day off today. So
did your floors get all done? Because I know you've continued to do the remodeling of the home.
Yes, I did. Saturday, I got another spare room done where I'm going to set up, place to jam.
Yeah.
So that's it until spring. Yeah,
okay.
I'm done for now. Now I got to start painting and putting up trim. Oh, yeah.
So this week it turned into winter, and then we're gonna get stupid hot again. When does it start getting cold in Illinois?
It should already be fairly chilly by now, but we've been unseasonably warm while you've been unseasonably cool. We were actually like 1 degree warmer than you yesterday.
Wow. Yeah, so we're...
What's your high today?
92, I think, is supposed to be.
You got us today, but it's still going to be like 84 here today.
I'm sorry, it says 96. I mean 86. 86 today, 91 tomorrow, 93 Wednesday, 91 Thursday, 93 Friday, 95 Saturday.
Yeah, see, it's almost it's almost as warm here today as it is there.
Yeah, then it starts dropping back after Sunday. It starts going back down under the 80s, and like Nikki and I got up this morning. It was 52 degrees. Like legit, I had a hoodie on. Yes, boys and girls, I wore a hoodie this morning at 52 degrees. Why? Because I'm in Arizona, and I'm used to 100 degrees. So
yes, it is a shock
when you have a hoodie on and you go outside. Like fuck me, it's cold. We went out. What was it, Sunday morning, and legit, my hands were cold. It was 47 degrees. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
I wear a hoodie when it's 47 degrees. That's cold.
I didn't. I was just wearing a shirt, and my hands were fucking cold. I'm like, fuck me. This is ridiculous. Where's this coming from? Like, heat it up, man. Warm it up.
Our average temperature in October in Illinois should be like mid-60s, like 64 for a high during the day and probably low 40s at night.
That would be nice.
But
yeah,
that's coming.
Yeah, it's coming.
I'll hang on to it as long as I can because eventually it'll be, 10 degrees below zero with a wind chill of 30 below, and I'll be going, fuck, it's cold. Nobody should live in this fucking shit.
So when it's that cold and you go to work, is because I'm not going to pretend to understand your environment, but I'm assuming you're like in a big, like giant building. Is the building cold, or do they have enough of a system in place that's it's toasty?
It's climate controlled.
Okay, it's toasty. Yeah, right on. That's good.
We work with a lot of stainless steel parts and a lot of precision parts. We hold tolerances down to a micron. Which, if you know anything about units of measurement, a micron is less than the thickness of a human hair.
I know units of measurement like fuck ton and shit ton and ass ton. Just saying, you know.
So add micron to that list.
Micron.
So in order to do that, you can't have a lot of fluctuation in temperature because, you know, these are very precision measurements.
Gotcha. It would cause catastrophe.
A lot of our climate control is due to the nature of the work, not because they care about us, is what I'm trying to get at. Ask my dad, who worked in an environment where they did not care about, you know, really fine measurements, and it would be about 107 degrees inside that factory during the summer. So,
Oh, damn.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, here's the cooler temperatures for you, Mike. What's your dad's name? I forget.
Stan.
I know your mom's name, Kay. Hey, Stan. Here's the cooler days for you, Stan. Go have an iced tea and, you know, sit under
Well, he's been retired for a long time now.
Oh, I know, but still, you know, it's got to give him props. Hey, Stan. Does Stan listen to the show?
Absolutely.
Okay. Right on, Stan. I'm sorry for neglecting you all these episodes. I'll make it a point not to do that anymore, Stan, so you're in all kinds of trouble.
We all call him Steel. You can call him Steel.
Oh, right on. Steel, what up? That's a cool nickname.
He's got a great nickname.
It's because he's like fucking Steel. Like, oh, you're going to fucking kick your ass.
Well, it's because he worked with Steel his entire life at Caterpillar and Joliet.
Right on. Cool.
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, boys and girls, I'm Chris. He's Mike. This is the Chris and Mike Show. In case you just tuned in, this is episode 51. You missed a doozy. So, you know, hit rewind and go back to the beginning.
Listen to us. Rewind.
Yeah.
Start over.
Rewind. If you want to play, let's see, side 4 Led Zeppelin 2
backwards
while the show's airing backwards, and you'll see it. What it does is amazing.
There's messages.
It's amazing.
We don't even know what they are, but they're there.
We don't know what they are, and it's just amazing. I'm just gonna say it's amazing. Trust me.
It's probably advertisements.
Tomorrow night, Nikki and I are going on a ghost tour in Phoenix, so I'll share that with you. It's like the murder house and stuff. It's gonna be pretty badass. Yeah. My brokerage is putting it on, so it's gonna be fun. It's like there's a murder house. Like some lady chopped people up, put them in a trunk. We actually get to walk into the murder house and shit. It's pretty cool. I'll take videos and notes and shit.
Sounds awesome.
I'll share the fun.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right, boys and girls. You know, tomorrow's a better day.
Absolutely. Don't let the bad days win.
Don't let the bad days win.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Mike. Magnificent. Mine says Snoop on a stoop.
I like it.
And his says Magnificent Monday because we did this a day earlier. So there you go.
Don't know.
Yeah.
It's always Sunday to them.
It is. It's Sunday. The Chris and Mike Show.
Love you, brother.
All right, man. Love you too, dude.
Peace.
Talk to you soon.